November 9th, 2014, from CenturyLink Field in Seattle, Washington. It was the New York Giants at the Seattle Seahawks. The Giants won the toss and they elected to receive, so they would start the game off with the ball. They would end up punting it, though, after 4 plays, and the Seahawks took over on their own 20. Russell Wilson hit Marshawn Lynch for a 23-yard pass, and then Russell Wilson hit Helfet for a 32-yard pass, and then Marshawn Lynch ran for 14 yards, and it was now a 1st and 10 on the New York 11. Then after a yard run by Lynch, Maichael ran for 9 yards, and now it was 1st and goal on the Giants' 1-yard line, and beast mode money Marshawn Lynch punched it in from a yard out to put the first points on the scoreboard. So it was now 7-0 Seahawks over the Giants. So now the Giants would take over with about 10.5 minutes left in the first. They started off on their own 20, but their drive stalled on the 49, and they would end up punting the ball back to the Seahawks. So now the Seahawks would take over on their own 18-yard line with about 6 minutes left in the first. Russell Wilson dropped back to pass, and he was intercepted by Bowman. So now the Giants would take back over as they now had the ball on the Seattle 24 with about 6 minutes left before the end of the first. And they ended up getting the ball down into the red zone. And they ended up with 2nd and goal on the 6. And Eli Manning dropped back to pass, and he hit Parker for a 6-yard touchdown. And this game was now tied up at 7 apiece. So now Seattle would take over on their own 23, but after 6 plays, they would punt the ball from the New York 46. So now the Giants took over with about a minute left in the first. They had the ball on their own 20. And on 2nd and 10 from the 20, Eli Manning hit Beckham for a 44-yard pass, and that would bring the first quarter to a close. And so after 1 quarter of play, this game was tied up at 7 apiece. So now to start things off in the second quarter, the Giants had the ball on the Seahawks 36. Williams ran for 7 yards to make it 7-3 on the 29. Eli then hit Odell Beckham Jr. for a 26-yard pass. And so now it was 1st and goal on the 3, and Williams scored on a 3-yard touchdown run that gave the Giants the lead at 14-7. So a couple of big passes to Odell Beckham Jr. on that drive, and now the Giants were in the lead by a touchdown. So now Seattle took over with about 13.5 minutes left before halftime. They had the ball on their own 20. They picked up a 1st down with a 13-yard run by Marshawn Lynch, and then a 6-yard run by Turbin ended up setting up a 2nd and 4 on the 39. Turbin then fumbled the ball as McLean forced the fumble, and it was recovered by Roll. So now the Giants took over on the Seahawks 47-yard line, but they went 3 and out as the Seahawks defense came up with a big stop. And now the Seahawks got the ball back on their own 15 with about 10.5 minutes left before halftime. They then went on a monstrous 15-play drive that lasted 8.5 minutes. It started off with Russell Wilson running for 26 yards. Marshawn Lynch then lost a yard, but then Marshawn Lynch picked up 9 yards, which set up 3rd and 2 from the 49, and Russell Wilson then ran for 8 yards. So now it's 1st and 10 on the New York 43, and Russell Wilson was sacked for a 4-yard loss. But then Beast Mode ran for 10 yards to make it 3rd and 4 on the 37. Russell Wilson ran for a yard, and that brought 4th and 3 on the 36 of the G-Men. Russell Wilson then found Curse for a 7-yard pass as they went for it on 4th down. So now it was a 1st down on the 29 of the Giants. Gilliam then ran for 13 yards, and then Gilliam ended up still in there as he was reported as eligible on both of these plays. Russell Wilson threw an incomplete pass, and then Marshawn Lynch ran for 6 yards to bring up a 3rd and 4 from the 10. Russell Wilson then hit Doug Baldwin for a 7-yard pass to make it 1st and goal on the 3. Marshawn Lynch then ran for 2 yards, but then he lost a yard on 2nd down, so now it was 3rd and goal from the 2. And Marshawn Lynch punched it in from 2 yards out, as this game was now tied at 14 apiece. So now the Giants would get the ball with less than 2 minutes left before halftime, and they had it on their own 20, and they would bring the ball to midfield. It was 2nd and 6 at the Giants 47. Eli dropped back to pass, and he hit Parker for a 14-yard reception. So that brought it to the 39. Eli then hit Donald for a 7-yard pass on back-to-back plays, and that would make it a 1st down on the 25 as Eli rushed up to spike the ball. And now with it 2nd and 10 on the 25, they ran the ball for a 2-yard gain. Cox ran it up the middle to set up for the field goal. They called their final timeout with just 3 seconds left on the clock. Now on 3rd and 8 from the 23, Brown came out to attempt a 41-yard field goal. It was up, it was good. And going into halftime, the Giants led the Seahawks 17-14. So a field goal in the final seconds of the first half gave the Giants a 3-point lead coming out of the locker rooms at halftime. The Seahawks would start off with the ball, and on 3rd and 5 from the 44, after having started off on their own 20, they made it into the Giants' territory. 3rd and 5 from the 44 of New York. Russell Wilson dropped back to pass, and he was intercepted by Quentin Demps. So now the Giants would take over on their own 10-yard line. They had the 3-point lead, and they would end up getting out of the shadow of their own end zone. They got the ball into Seattle territory, but their drive stalled on the Seattle 40, and they would punt the ball to the Seahawks. So now the Seahawks took over with 8 minutes left in the third. They had the ball on their own 20. Russell Wilson threw a pass to Doug Baldwin for 11 yards to pick up a first down. Marshawn Lynch then picked up 3 yards. But then after an incomplete pass, it was 3rd and 7 from the Seattle 34, and Russell Wilson hit Javon Curse for a 60-yard pass. And that made it 1st and goal on the 6. Beast Mode then punched it up for 5 yards to make it 2nd and goal on the 1. And then after a no gain on 2nd down, brought up 3rd and goal on the 1. There was a false start that brought them back to the 6. And then after only gaining a yard, but then there was a penalty of an illegal forward pass. And so that made it 4th and goal on the 10. And out came Stephen Hauschka to attempt a 28-yard field goal. It was up, it was good. And this game was now tied at 17 apiece. So now the Giants would take over with about 4 minutes left in the third. They had the ball on their own 20, and then after moving it up towards midfield, when on 3rd and 4 from the 26, Eli hit Parker for a 20-yard pass. It was now 1st down on the Giants' 46. They moved it into Seattle territory. They were faced with 3rd and 3 from the 47, and Eli hit Odell Beckham Jr. for an 8-yard pass. And so now it was 1st down on the Seattle 39. Eli dropped back to pass, and he was intercepted by Earl Thomas. So Earl Thomas with a big pick, and that gave the Seattle Seahawks the ball on their own 42 with about 30 seconds left in the third. Then on 2nd and 5, Marshawn Lynch ran for 4 yards as the third quarter came to a close. So after 3 quarters of play, this game was knotted up at 17 points apiece. So to begin things in the fourth quarter, the Seahawks had the ball on the Giants' 49. It was 3rd and 1, and Maichael ran for 18 yards to pick up the first down. They only needed 1. He said, hey, I'll run for 18. So now it's 1st down on the New York Giants' 31. Russell Wilson then scrambled for 11 yards to make it another 1st down, this time on the 20. Beast Mode Marshawn Lynch then ran for 17 yards to bring the ball to the 3-yard line. It was 1st and goal now on the 3. And after an incomplete pass brought up 2nd down, they gave it to Beast Mode Money Marshawn Lynch as he punched it up the gut for a 3-yard touchdown that gave the Seahawks the lead at 24-17. So the Seahawks now were up by a touchdown, and they would kick it off to the Giants. The Giants now took over on their own 19-yard line. They lost 2 yards on 1st down. Then after an incomplete pass brought up 3rd and 12, Eli dropped back to pass, and he was sacked for a 5-yard loss by Bennett. And out came the punting unit. So now they would punt the ball to the Seahawks. The Seahawks would take over on their own 47 with a little over 11 minutes left in this game. So the Seahawks would be faced with a 3rd and 8 from the 49. Russell Wilson would hit Lockett for a 16-yard pass, and that made it a 1st down on the 35. Wilson ended up fumbling the ball after an 18-yard run on the next play, but it was declared a dead ball. So it was a 1st down on the Giants' 24. After an incomplete pass, it was now 2nd and 10. Now Marshawn Lynch fumbled the ball after a 12-yard run, but it was recovered by Richardson. And so the Seahawks still had the ball. And it was 3rd and 2 on the 16. They handed it off to Money Marshawn Lynch, and Beast Mode ran it up the middle, and he took it to the house, 16 yards for the touchdown. And it was now 31-17. As the Seahawks extended their lead to 2 touchdowns. So now the Giants took over with 8 minutes left in this game, less than 8 minutes actually. They had the ball on their own 20. They ended up getting it up to the 46, but then after a pass for no gain. They had 2 incomplete passes. That brought up 4th down. They elected to go for it with less than 6 minutes on the clock and needing 2 touchdowns. And on 4th and 10, Eli dropped back to pass, and it was incomplete. Maxwell was there on the defense. And so they turned the ball over on downs as the Seahawks came up with a huge defensive stop. So now the Seahawks would take over on the Giants 46, and Maichael ran at 45 yards all the way to the 1, almost scoring the touchdown. But that brought up a 1st and goal from the 1, and who scored? None other than Russell Wilson for the 1-yard touchdown run. And it was now 38-17 as the Seahawks were now up by 21 points, having scored 21 unanswered in the second half, as they were shutting out the Giants in the second half after allowing 17 points. Actually, it was 24 unanswered points for the Seahawks. My bad. So now the Giants, there's just so much scoring. So now the Giants took over on their own 16 with about 6 minutes left in this game, and they would end up bringing the ball out to their 39. But on 1st down from the 39, Eli dropped back. He was sacked, and he fumbled the ball. Hill forced the fumble. Jerry recovered, and now the Seahawks had the ball with less than 3 minutes left, up by 3 scores. And they would just run out the clock, and this game ended in the victory formation with Russell Wilson taking a knee. And the final score, Seattle 38, New York Giants 17. And with the victory, the Seahawks are now 6-3 on the season, 4-1 at home. The Giants are 3-6, 1-4 on the road. And in this game, Russell Wilson was 10 for 17 with 172 passing yards and 2 interceptions. He also rushed for 107 yards off of 14 carries and had a rushing touchdown. Eli Manning was 29 for 44 with 283 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And the leading rusher in this game was Beast Mode, Money Marshawn Lynch, 21 carries, 140 yards, and not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 touchdowns on the ground for Beast Mode. He also had 23 yards receiving in this game as well. The leading receiver in the game was Odell Beckham Jr., the rookie for the G-Men. He had 108 yards off of 7 receptions. And for defense, the leading tackler was actually McClain. Jameel McClain for the Giants had 12 tackles. The Giants had 2 sacks. Ayers and Hankins each had a sack. The Seahawks had 1 sack. That was Bennett. He came up with that big sack there at the end. And the leading tackler for Seattle was Johnson, as Jerron Johnson had 8 tackles. The Giants had 2 interceptions. Bowman and Demps each had picks. But it was Earl Thomas's pick that really made a difference, as he had the 1 pick for Seattle. The Seahawks come up huge in the second half. They were trailing by a field goal at halftime, down 17-3, and then they scored 24 unanswered points in the second half, 21 of which came in the fourth quarter. So they scored the 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and they win this game 38-17. So final score, Seattle 38, New York Giants 17.